Hello, it's Dave at VTR. Welcome back to the channel. How often have you purchased a vintage toy with a box that kind of looks like this? Some of you might think it's beyond repair, stick it in the back of the cupboard, or even worse, throw it away. But these boxes are just as important as the vintage toy itself. So today we're going to be restoring this Mask Jackhammer, which was kindly gifted by Andy just prior to Christmas. And hopefully, using some common techniques that are out there, we can get this back into its former glory. And if you use some of those same techniques yourself, in the future you might be able to save a little bit of your hard-earned cash by purchasing an item with a slightly knackered box and then restoring it yourself. Right, the first glaring problem with our box is that it's not a box. But that's probably to our advantage. If you take a look at this card, it's dented. Yeah, pretty badly. It's got peaks and troughs all over it. In fact, this looks like the terrain that suits the 4x4 action of Jackhammer. And on top of that, we've got lots of other issues like tears, rips, dog-eared corners that all need sorting out. But before we look at those more closely, let's get the iron out. I'm just preparing my surface ready for ironing. This is an upside down floor tile. I'm just going to lay on top of that some parchment paper or baking paper. This is a trick I found from the YouTube channel Toy Tinker Tim. I only recently come across his channel. It's fantastic for restoration and toy reviews. I highly recommend you go over and take a visit. Now, I used to use a tea towel, but this baking paper is much better. It stops the card that you're ironing from sticking to the surface. So I'm just going to spray the card with some water just to dampen it off a little bit first. As you can see, that's already starting to have an effect. I'll probably need to do several goes over this. Parchment paper did the trick, so thanks Toy Tinker Tim for your recommendation. I'm going to let this dry now, and then we can get on to tackling those finer issues. The card is nearly dried. As it dries, it will bend a little bit, but we can sort that out when we actually make this into a box. Now I'm going to focus on these tears and dog ears here that we've got. The card just splits over time. Looks like the cardboard is made of layers and they sort of separate. There's a few of those I need to glue and repair, but that's not too bad. I've got my magnifying glasses, I've got my glue, I've got my strange instrument that allows me to squidge the card around, and I've got my brush and my pin for applying the glue. So let's crack on. The glue has now dried, and to be honest, I'm pretty pleased with the result. The tears actually, although they're probably not going to be all that strong, they've turned out really well. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the front side as well. So my next step now is to give this a good clean. In particular, I want to remove this tape residue here. There's a good reason for that, which I'll show later. It's pretty solid. I wonder if lighter fluid will work. I'll give it a go. Let's see what happens.
1, 2, 3.
Well, it seems the lighter fluid was powerful enough. I'm really happy with that result. The residue has now gone completely. You can see there is a slight sort of tear there in the box art. That's where the previous tape was removed, but I'm hoping we can fix that later. It's time to remove all of the grime that's built up over the last few decades and give this a good clean. I've heard that glass cleaner is a good approach. I've also seen Jules Burt, for example, use polish, but I'm going to give the glass cleaner a go today. I've got my cloth. Let's apply some glass cleaner. I'm just going to apply it to the white tabs first, just to make sure all is good. And let's see how this goes. It does have to be said that the window cleaner has done a fine job. Just check the shine on that. Who would have thought it? I don't know about you, but I'm fed up of looking at this flat piece of card. I think it's time to transform it into a box. First thing I'm going to do is just bend this edge here. Just needs re-creasing after I had ironed it. And this is where I'm going to be laying down all the glue. There's just one join here. This will join to the other end of the box over here. So I think that's enough of a crease. So time to apply lots of glue and then the fiddly part of making sure it's all lined up. Okay, I think I've got the two sides of the box in position. I'm just going to hold them while the glue sets a little bit. While you're waiting, you might as well play the Mask theme tune in your mind. Here's a little helper. must be said, there's a lot of waiting around in restoration, but that joint has now dried very nicely, and I'm happy with that. We've got a box. There's one more job that I like to do before we take a tour and see what Kenner actually printed on the outside of these boxes to entice us all in back in the 80s. Now, back in the day when we bought these boxes off the shelves, the end tabs were actually taped down, and on this box, when the tape was removed, it also removed the top surface of the print. So you can see it on the end tab there, but also on the sides where previously I had removed the tape residue. Now, fortunately on this box, the tape still exists, and you can see on the tape the remains of that outer print. So I'm hoping to be able to close this end up and re-glue this tape back onto the box just in the right position so that it looks like it was never torn off in the first place. So let's crack on and get that fixed. Tape has been glued back. I'm just going to wait for it to dry, and let's see how it looks once it's dried. And here's the final result, and I'm very happy with this. It's a box again. And let's just take a quick look at how Kenner enticed us into buying these toys back in the day. I do love this artistic picture of Jackhammer in action, and also the white text on the red background with these white stripes. Very much a racing feel, but you knew that was a mask box when you saw that. Let's turn it over here. Here are some of the actions. And this is a repair that I do love. Re-gluing that tape there has fixed the torn print, and it looks great again. In fact, you can see it also on the end flap here. This whole area had been torn, and now that looks nicely repaired. In fact, all of the tears in the card, I'm really surprised at how well they've turned out. Yeah, very happy with this. And there we can see the Kenner logo as well. We also have the Jackhammer instructions. I've just performed a little bit of tidy up on these, and they're looking fantastic as well. And as with most of these mask vehicles, you also got a comic and a poster. I don't have the comic here, but let's just fold out this poster. We can see the other Series 1 vehicles there. Gator and Switchblade in the middle. Rhino there at the bottom, and of course there's Boulder Hill. Let's have a quick look at the poster. Yeah, looks great. We can't take a look at the box and then ignore Jackhammer itself. This is a fantastic Venom vehicle. Now, here's a question for you. Would you like to see me strip this down and rebuild it like I did with the B-Wing? There are a few niggles on here. The grille doesn't stay shut. The hood shield is really, really stiff. And also I noticed the doors are very stiff because the posts that are on, the metal posts, are rusting. So would you like to see me strip this down, clean it up and service all the mechanisms and rebuild it again so it's back to its former glory? Let me know in the comments. Andy, I just want to thank you once again for this amazing gift. I hope you love how the box has turned out. And there's only one thing left for me to do, and that's put this on display.
We don't really know where the world is gonna go, but now everybody knows that you can't stop for too long. Got to keep going. Don't really know where the world is gonna go, but now everybody knows that you can't stop for too long. Got to keep going. Don't really know where the world is gonna go, but now everybody knows that you can't stop for too long. Got to keep going. Don't really know where the world is gonna go, but now everybody knows that you can't stop for too long. Got to keep going.
Thanks for making it this far. Leave a comment, like and subscribe, or try some of these other VTR classics. Until next time, stay safe and cheers.